Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it might be when you are joining us. This is the Tulsa World Scene podcast. Our lovely and talented colleague Jimmy Trammell is on a very deserved holiday this week. So it is just myself and Lydia Fletcher, our summer intern here in the scene department, for whom this is her final week.
I know. No, it's so sad. I've absolutely loved this internship and I love podcasting. And so getting to do this every week has been one of the highlights because so much of what we do is talk to other people and hear whatever they have to say. So it's really nice to sometimes just get to talk about our own work and random topics that come up and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of that push to the end. I did not procrastinate, so to speak. But it's definitely one of those things where a lot of my deadlines are tomorrow and Friday. And then a Saturday deadline. I actually got Monday off because I'm working Saturday, which is going to be really fun. I'm very excited for the Friday night story that's going to be published Saturday. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I have 2 weeks till school starts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild. I love it though. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's just one of those things where we're getting the buy your textbooks, do this, do that. And I'm like, nope, I will be home first. I will move home and then look at that.
All right. Well, since it is your last week and you're coming to this from a slightly different perspective, you're not from Oklahoma originally, and I don't think this is your first time in Oklahoma, but I think it's your first time to be in Oklahoma for an extended period of time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I was curious, what are a couple of things about Tulsa itself as somebody who has been either willingly or unwillingly forced to discover a lot of things about the city. What are a couple of things about Tulsa that have surprised, impressed, disappointed you over these few months that you've been working here, other than the terrible weather?
The terrible weather, yeah, that was a disappointment. The heat, definitely not fun. It's different than Arkansas heat. Arkansas is humid, Oklahoma is not. And so it was a weird adjustment. But honestly, I've really loved Tulsa. Everyone, in my first few weeks here, everyone was always telling me people in Tulsa are so nice. It was a common theme I heard in all my interviews. They're like, Tulsans are just so sweet. And then the more I've been here, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is true. Everyone's really nice. I'm a regular at a coffee shop in town to the point where if they have cookies that break, I get them. And I walk in and they know my order. And that's always made my mornings because going from, living in a college town where I know a ton of people to going to a town where the only time I'd been to Tulsa before was seeing Modest Mouse at Tulsa Theater last year. Really good show, but I was here for 4 hours, so I had no experience with this city. And it was daunting, I think, to come into a new place, but everyone's been really sweet. I really have had no negative experiences, which is huge. One of the weirdest things, but also helpful things, is y'all's streets are alphabetized. I know we talked about this on a previous episode, but I have now memorized that Harvard and Yale and Peoria, and if I can just connect to one of those to Number Street, I can find wherever I need to go. That's been super helpful because I am directionally challenged.
Tulsa is laid out in a way that is very forgiving for people who don't know which way is up, and so that is a good thing. So, well, I know that each what little I know about the intern program here is that each individual is usually given a major project that they spend not the entirety of their time, but it takes up the majority, or that takes up the entire length of the internship. What did they have you doing? Was it something that you were wanting to do, or was it a topic that was presented to you as this is what we want you to work on?
It was kind of a mix of both. So I'm working on, I just finalized it, sent it to the editors, getting photos in. So it's finally done. But I have been working on this series on Oklahoma's film industry and partly the economic impact, but a lot more like the human stories behind it and like the resources available for people. And so what's so funny is I knew there was going to be an internship project I had in my head. I'm going to do it on the music scene. I'm going to talk about, emerging artists. I had already started like listening to local ones I wanted to cover. I walk in my first day, and on my desk is a copy of the Tulsa World magazine, and it was the music edition. And they had just done everything I was thinking about doing. And so amazing reporting. I love it. I'm glad the local scene is getting that spotlight. But I was like, oh, dang, no music reporting for me. But then it was almost a blessing because so many of my clips are music based that it was good to diversify. And so Nicole and I talked, and she was like, you're going to take over some of these Killers of the Flower Moon stories we're doing, but what about doing stuff on the film industry in general? And I was like, I don't have a ton of experience with it. I couldn't tell you the last time I really sat down to watch a movie. Like I am unfortunately in that generation that has the attention span of a gnat. And so, I have to get up, I have to like have some snacks, but I do enjoy movies. But now that I've gotten to see some productions being made and get to hear about all of the behind the scenes things that go on, I think I have a lot more appreciation for everything that goes into film. And it may be a little bit easier to like sit down and watch it because I can now think about all the different things that happen. And so I got to see so many places I'd never been to for this series. It was so cool. Like, so I talked to a lot of the different film offices in the state, and I went out to Oklahoma City twice. I went to Owasso, I went to Pahuska, Bartlesville. Like, I didn't even know half these towns existed. Like, not being from here, obviously, OKC and Tulsa, maybe Norman, but that's about it. And so it was really cool to get to travel. And it was one of the things I think actually worked to my advantage was the fact I wasn't from here, because if I didn't know something, it was very easy to explain away, or I could just pull that, hey, I'm not from Oklahoma, can you explain X to me? And it was lovely. I had one interview where I did a little bit of research onto who I was interviewing, and he's featured in a couple articles, and then I look him up afterwards and I'm like, oh, that's who I talked to. And it's like one of the big oil tycoons, and I'm like, how, what? And so luckily, if you're not from here and you don't know all the names, you don't have to deal with the nerves of going into that interview. So that was one of the funny
even when you've
surprises.
been here for a long time, you also don't know all the names, so it can come as a surprise there too.
Yeah.
So, well, you talk about it is series, so this is going to be a multi-part story.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 articles and most likely an interactive map to go with one of them. That's one of the things with kind of all my reporting. I really try to get people's perspectives into it. So a lot of my articles have more of that human impact side of it, but I love resource guides. Like, that's just something I love. So I'm trying to create a map where people can easily click and find the sound stages, film offices, different production companies throughout the state, where Tulsa World kind of, the series becomes this one-stop shop for a resource on film. So that one's still pending just based on website capability, but regardless, the resources will like be in the articles. So
All right.
yeah.
Well, what else do you have coming up for this weekend?
For this weekend, so I just released our Weekender Wednesday article came out. It was an interview with Dwayne Bryan, who is Zach Bryan's dad. Not Oklahoma born, but Oklahoma raised musician. And he and I talked about how his son's rise to fame has impacted him and his family, and then also this fan community that's really rallied behind Zach. And so Dwayne is hosting the Oklahoma Smoke Show pre-party with Quick Trip or Zach's shows on the 11th and 12th, so that fans who even weren't able to get tickets are able to go at least have, hang out with the fans, get to see some live music from local acts, and then people will go in to watch the show, and then there's also after parties. So I'm going to be doing our review approval is still pending with BOK, as I know, but I'm at least going to be doing a review on the event and just kind of talking about it, talking to some fans. There's this Facebook page with almost 150,000 members in it, the Zach Bryan fan group. And this one lady, I want to find her at this event. I'm going to reach out to her because she is driving 21 hours with a 3-year-old to this concert. And I'm
that's dedication.
That is some dedication. They're like, Nicole and I were talking about this. There are people that have entire like tattoo sleeves of Zach Bryan lyrics and imagery from the albums. And like, I have tattoos based on albums and stuff. So I really can't judge them. Like, I get that, but it's this huge phenomenon within that group for people to post it. So it's music reporting, which is my background, but it's this side of it I've never delved into. So I'm excited. That's a good final story, I think, to end on.
All right. Well, while you be going on to bigger and better things, I'll still be here for as long as they will have me. But we will be. We did a recent review of the place called District Burger in Broken Arrow. It is a place that uses all locally sourced beef from local ranchers in all of their burgers, and it's worth a trip to Broken Arrow to check out. And we'll have something coming up next week on one of the newer high-end steak restaurants that has opened up, Jimmy's Chop House, with an interview with Elliot Nelson, founder of the McNelly's Group, whose Jimmy's Chop House is the most recent iteration. And for those who are interested and are owned by certain members of the feline family, we'll talk with the people that will be bringing the first Tulsa Cat Cafe to town. Not sure when it will happen, but it's definitely in the works. They opened one 3 months ago in Oklahoma City, and the opportunities to spend an hour amongst 15 to 25 adoptable cats, it's about a 2-week wait. I'll put it that way. It's that popular. So we'll talk with the couple that's bringing that in. And I did not check before we started, but I'm sure that Mr. Trammell has some fascinating bit of pop culture waiting for us either Friday or Saturday of this week, all of which can be found at tulsaworld.com or by a copy of the Tulsa World available at fine newsstands everywhere. Well, we will wrap it up for this week. Want to wish Lydia best of luck in all that you do.
Thank you.
Hope that when you become rich and famous, you'll remember us little people back here in Tulsa.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, for Lydia Fletcher, this is Jim Watts thanking you for joining us, and we will bid you a pleasant good day.